Module 6. Crisis Response Leadership. Leadership styles in maritime emergencies. Different shipboard emergency scenarios require varying leadership approaches. In immediate life-threatening situations like fires or flooding, a directive style with clear, authoritative commands is most effective. For complex scenarios like security threats or mechanical failures with adequate time, a more collaborative approach involving department heads and technical specialists yields better solutions. Effective crisis leaders aboard vessels know when to switch between styles based on time criticality, immediate danger versus developing situation, complexity of the emergency, single system failure versus cascading effects, crew experience levels in emergency response training, nature of the threat, safety incidents versus security breaches, vessel crisis, leader responsibilities. Beyond making decisions, maritime crisis leaders must maintain situational awareness across all decks and vessel systems affected. Prioritize passenger safety while managing competing technical demands. Ensure communication flows between bridge, engine room, and response teams. Monitor crew performance for signs of panic, fatigue, or stress breakdown. Anticipate developments like weather changes or system deterioration. Provide visible, confident leadership to reassure passengers and crew. Document key decisions for maritime authorities and post-incident investigation. Module 6. Decision-making models for crisis situations. Situation assessment. Rapidly collect information about the emergency's nature, location, and severity. Determine affected areas, number of casualties, and immediate threats to life. Utilize all available information sources including crew reports, alarms, and monitoring systems. Option generation. Develop multiple response strategies based on vessel emergency procedures. Consider evacuation routes, firefighting tactics, damage control measures, or medical response options depending on the crisis type. Incorporate both standard protocols and creative alternatives. Risk evaluation. Analyze each option's potential consequences, including passenger, crew safety impacts, vessel integrity risks, and environmental concerns. Weigh immediate action benefits against potential complications. Consider available personnel, equipment, and external support capabilities. Decision selection. Select the most appropriate response based on your analysis, prioritizing life safety above all other considerations. Make a clear, decisive choice even with incomplete information, following the principle that some action is better than paralysis during maritime emergencies. Implementation. Communicate decisions using clear, concise commands through proper chain of command. Assign specific responsibilities to qualified crew members, establish priorities, and set explicit reporting intervals. Ensure all team members understand their roles in executing the emergency response. Monitoring and adjustment. Continuously evaluate the effectiveness of your response through regular situation reports and direct observation. Be prepared to quickly modify your approach if conditions change or the initial plan proves ineffective. Maintain flexibility while keeping focus on primary emergency management objectives. For time-critical situations, the TICA, Threat Assessment, Emotional Control, Course of Action, model provides a streamlined approach. Remember that perfect information is rarely available during maritime emergencies, and some action is often better than decision paralysis. Module 6. Task delegation and team management. Assess team capabilities. Before delegating tasks, quickly evaluate each team member's skills, experience, and current mental/physical state. Document crew certifications, STCW, medical, firefighting, and vessel-specific training. Note who has participated in recent abandonment drills and who demonstrated proficiency with evacuation equipment. Assign critical roles, lifeboat commanders, fire team leaders, to those with demonstrated competence, while ensuring each critical function has a designated backup person. Use clear delegation format. When assigning tasks, follow the 5W format. What needs to be done, specific actions like check passenger manifests, who should do it, by name and position, where it should be performed, exact location, portside muster station D, when it must be completed, specific time frame, within 5 minutes. and why it's important, consequences of failure. For technical tasks, specify how, use VHF channel 16 for distress calls. This structured approach prevents dangerous misunderstandings during high-stress situations. Confirm understanding. Request verbal confirmation using closed-loop communication. Officer Rodriguez, do you understand your assignment to check all cabins on Deck 7? The team member must repeat back. Yes, I will check all cabins on Deck 7 for remaining passengers and report back in 10 minutes. Document critical task assignments in the emergency log when possible. During fast-moving situations, establish a clear challenge protocol that allows questioning for clarification but establishes time limits for decision implementation. Monitor performance and provide feedback. Establish specific reporting intervals, every 5 to 10 minutes during acute crisis phases. Position yourself at command points with visibility of critical operations. Watch for specific stress indicators, repetitive questions, slurred speech, or visible shaking that might compromise performance. Immediately correct life-threatening errors using direct commands. Stop. The fire hose pressure is too high. Acknowledge effective performance with specific feedback. Excellent work securing that leak quickly. You prevented a potential electrical hazard. Module 6. Stress Management for Crisis Leaders. Recognizing leadership stress. Maritime crisis leaders must identify their own stress symptoms during emergency response. Cognitive, difficulty recalling emergency protocols, fixation on single aspects of the crisis, hesitation when making time-critical decisions about passenger evacuation. Physical, elevated heart rate exceeding 100 bpm, tension in neck and shoulders, respiratory rate above 20 breaths per minute. Emotional, uncharacteristic irritability with crew members, excessive worry about outcomes, emotional numbness when receiving casualty reports. Behavioral, interrupting radio communications, directly taking over subordinates' assigned tasks, repeatedly changing muster station assignments. When these symptoms appear during bridge operations or in the emergency control center, implement immediate stress management techniques before command effectiveness deteriorates. Tactical stress reduction techniques. Implement these rapid techniques during active vessel emergency management. Combat tactical breathing. 4-count inhale through nose, 4-count hold while maintaining situational awareness, 4-count exhale through mouth, repeat 3 to 5 cycles. Mental compartmentalization. Mentally divide the emergency into distinct operational sectors, e.g. passenger management, damage control, communications, focusing on one sector at a time. 30-second sensory grounding. While monitoring systems, identify 5 specific instruments you can see, 4 equipment surfaces you can touch, 3 distinct alarm or communication sounds, command microbreaks. Transfer temporary command authority to second officer for 30-second periods to mentally reset between critical decisions. Targeted delegation. Assign specific components of the emergency response plan to qualified officers, using standardized handoff procedures from Section B VII ICE 2. These techniques can be employed without leaving the bridge or emergency control station, ensuring continuous command presence throughout the incident. Module 6. Managing team stress and preventing burnout. Recognition. Monitor for 20% decrease in decision speed or accuracy. Document changes in sleep patterns and meal skipping. Look for physical signs, trembling hands, excessive sweating, dilated pupils. Note communication shifts from collaborative to clipped or aggressive tone. Rotation. Implement 4-hour shift maximums during intense crisis periods. Rotate command positions every 6 hours in prolonged situations. Enforce mandatory 15-minute breaks every 2 hours. Require structured briefings using SBAR technique during handovers. Support. Establish hydration nutrition stations within 20 meters of crisis operations. Create 2-minute reset zones away from immediate crisis activity. Acknowledge specific contributions with immediate verbal reinforcement. Use phrases like, "This reaction is normal under these conditions." Redistribution. Implement 70-30 workload distribution between primary-secondary responders. Create mentor-apprentice pairings with 1-to-1 ratio during extended operations. Reconfigure teams at 8-hour marks based on fatigue assessments. Establish redundancy with minimum 2-person coverage for all critical functions. Prolonged emergency situations can rapidly deplete team members' physical and mental resources, with performance decreasing up to 40% after 8 hours of continuous crisis management. Leaders must actively implement these stress management protocols to maintain operational effectiveness throughout the duration of the crisis. Module 6. Building team resilience before crises. Realistic training. Conduct weekly shipboard drills that gradually increase in complexity, from basic fire containment to full vessel evacuation scenarios. Include unexpected complications such as blocked evacuation routes, power failures, and communication system outages to build adaptive thinking. Incorporate realistic emotional elements such as panicking passengers, simulated injuries, and multi-language communication barriers. Rotate between fire, flooding, abandoned ship, and medical emergency scenarios to prevent procedural thinking. The goal is to expose crew teams to controlled stress environments that build confidence in using SOLAS equipment and emergency protocols without overwhelming them. Team cohesion development. Foster strong interpersonal relationships among emergency response teams through joint safety briefings and cross-departmental exercises. Cross-train bridge officers, engineering staff, and cabin stewards to build mutual understanding of each department's emergency responsibilities. Establish clear muster station communication protocols and practice them until they become automatic even under extreme fatigue conditions. Create a no-fault reporting system where crew members can highlight safety concerns or procedural weaknesses without fear of disciplinary action, encouraging continuous improvement of emergency response capabilities. Psychological preparation. Educate crew on the physiological effects of maritime emergencies, including adrenaline management and decision-making under pressure. Introduce stress inoculation training that simulates progressive challenges, like managing passenger hysteria while coordinating lifeboat loading procedures. Develop specific mental scripts and visualization techniques for each crew position's emergency duties. Practice 30-second calming techniques that can be applied during high-pressure situations to maintain cognitive performance while managing frightened passengers in confined spaces. Emphasize the psychological aspects of maintaining a reassuring demeanor that prevents panic from spreading throughout the vessel.